What was that word?
It's like
Hard. How do you spell that?
It's like Jimmy Fallon on SNL. Have y'all seen where he does the L? Like, so funny. I'm gonna text it.
Remember, when you lean in, you lean in.
Oh my God. This is gonna drive me crazy.
Good.
Good morning and welcome to the Hodge Pack, sports life and everything in between right here on 106.9 The Country Giant. We are here, Hodge, Misty, and Josh, ready to kick your weekend off this Friday morning. We are brought to you by Lytle Land and Cattle. We are hanging out in the Potosi Life studio here in the Mall of Abilene. Our mall walkers will be walking in, everybody walking into a full slate of everything football, with high school football kicking off last week, college football, and today. Actually, last night, the NFL, everything, all football is going. And so we are here ready to bring that to you. Everything good this morning. Homecoming. Josh thought about, didn't bring the mom or the garter. Homecoming and Jim Ned.
I left it at home.
A little early. I thought that was different.
It's terribly early. I don't understand the reasoning, but at least it's not as hot as I thought it might be. You know, like the weather kind of cooled.
So do we have a parade that we get to be a part of?
There's a parade.
Who do you play?
Lubbock Trinity?
Oh,
That's
okay.
a question.
Yeah. I
Is
think
that like a Christian school? Like what?
I'm assuming.
I've never heard of that.
I
Interesting. Okay.
didn't do any scouting, so.
well, I'm going through our handy dandy, thanks to Cody Coyle and the Big Country Blitz. You play Lubbock Trinity Christian.
Okay, there's a lot of words there.
Lot of who you rooting for? LTCHS. We're rooting for you. But so tonight, a big day as far as crosstown rival Abilene High and Cooper. Saw a guy at the burrito shop this morning. He thought it was kind of early too, but we're going to have Coach Roan. Hopefully it all works out. They got a pepper rally. He said, I think I can make it. So hopefully we'll have Coach Roan. And
Gives you strong confidence.
Yeah, it does. Well, I do like the fact that we are in the Mall of Abilene for a lot of reasons. We love our studio. We love the people at the mall. But from Cooper to the mall is a lot easier to get to than Cooper to where we used to be. So,
oh yeah, my office is kind of directly behind Cooper, you know, and I can hear their band practicing every morning. It's pleasant, but it takes about 2 minutes to get there from here. So.
Yeah, it's very centrally located. I love it compared to where we were. This is
yes,
great.
Very much so. But Coach Roan will join us, and that will give us the trifecta that we've had Coach Fullen, Coach Martin, and now we'll have all three Abilene high school football coaches will have been on the Hodge Pack. That is, if the pep rally doesn't get too crunk and he can make it across the
possibility.
So
It better be.
yeah. But again, Abilene High Cooper playing tonight. Jim Ned again, where Josh's kids go. They have homecoming tonight. The Merkle Badgers are on the road tonight. But of course, Anson Tiger football, you can hear tonight at 7:00 as they head to Archer City. A&M football tomorrow, playing McNeese State. We'll talk about college football. And then, of course, the Dallas Cowboys kick everything off this Sunday in Cleveland. And you can hear it right here on 106.9 The Country Giant. But do you feel like now that the NFL kicked off last night, everything, all forms of football is happening? It's a whole different feel of really, and we got some great rain. Thank the Lord for some rain. Between the Lord and the fair, they normally merge all that together. But it kind of feels misty. You've got the new fall hair look. Yes. You were bragging about that on Facebook, so I know that's what you called it.
Yes, it is my fall hair. Your girl can't bleach the blonde all her life because it's not good for your hair. So every once in a while, I have to take a break and go back to all natural. So put a few dark pieces in for fall.
Well, that's good, but it's
nice update on the do.
Yeah,
yeah.
Wanted y'all to know.
If y'all want to sponsor Misty's hair, we can get that.
Yes, actually, I would love it. If you want me to go back to bleach blonde, let's do it.
I cut my hair last night. Of course, I do that myself.
And what he meant,
it looks like it.
And he cut that one hair. Yeah. What came in with no hat today. It was a little different. It was coming in.
Like, this is what's happening.
Oh yeah, it's football season. It's all proper and ready to roll. But
it didn't catch me off guard.
What, not having a hat on? Yeah. I kept waiting to see if the headset was going to work. But anyway, we have a lot to cover. Lots going on. Rangers. We'll talk about them as they had a good little series with the Yankees and had another win last night. Unfortunately, the injury report continues to grow, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But we had our first week of Pick'em. Phil Hill was the big winner last week. He's making his way to taking the belt away from Papa Greer. But a lot of Greers had some pretty good weeks. Hodge did not. My limbs broke that I went out on.
Every single one of them.
Every single one of them. And the one limb and we'll talk about college football at the bottom of the hour. The big news across the country was Georgia killed Clemson, Notre Dame, Texas A&M, but locally was how Texas Tech came real close. They almost got Appalachian State by the Wildcats last week, and Misty was there, and she'll give us the feedback on what that was like. But let's dive into our Lawrence Hall headline report. I'm going to start it off with golf, and I'm going to start it off with Scotty Scheffler last week winning the FedEx Cup, wrapping up the season with about a $64 million year. Not a bad gig, but he wins. And I'm going to just take a moment to talk about how dominant of a season Scotty had. He won another major, the Masters. He won the Players Championship. First time somebody win back-to-back Players. We were saying that, I don't remember if it was at lunch one day or talking about, I wish Tiger was still healthy because I think it'd have been fun to see Scotty and Tiger go at it.
Oh, I mean, yes, but you got to pass the baton, because you can say that. I mean, you like say like Jack Nicklaus and
Tiger.
Yeah. I mean, there's always the greatest in the world at the time. But yes, it's kind of like that. I mean, maybe you should just play Tiger Woods golf on Xbox.
It's coming back. It's there. But a great year for Scotty. Again, he and Meredith, and of course Teddy Scott, his caddy. Pretty good year of himself. I think he's like top 10 on the money list as a caddy. He would have won. He won more money than a lot of golfers this year just carrying the bag for Scotty. And another big year that's happening that I did not want to miss, and I hope you saw it on the rundown. But what Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever are doing is still, yes, football is happening. We're rolling into getting close to the end of baseball, which will mean the fall classic of the World Series and all that's coming. But what Caitlin Clark has done with the Indiana Fever, they got over 500 for the first time since 2019. I think she's pushing and pulling away from herself or pulling away from Angel Reese as far as Rookie of the Year. But what Caitlin Clark is continuing to do is fantastic.
Yeah, no, it's been exciting. I actually watched a whole game the other day, the first time this whole season. So I've said this before, but Clay is my husband is a big Caitlin Clark fan. It's just so funny to me because he's never been interested in women's basketball. And he had the game on when they played the Sky, and that's the team that Angel plays for. And she completely dominated. I think she had 31 points. And Angel, I think she did have a double-double, but they're not even in the same hemisphere, if you ask me. Yes, Angel Reese can rebound like nobody's business, but that's really, I mean, she can score two here and there, but I mean, if you watch them, there's to me no comparison between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. It's not even close.
Right. And I agree. And Angel Reese is still doing a lot of good things with the double doubles. And again, that rookie class, they've become a commercial of talking about how good the WNBA is now because they're in it. So shout out to Caitlin. Hope she keeps doing well. They're going to get in the playoffs and see what kind of run they can make. Now let's shift to last night. Josh, we had the first football game. Kansas City trying to make history as a three-time Super Bowl champ, win 27-20 last night. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens come up short again. They've played him 6 times. He has lost 5 of them, and they lost by a toenail. Very literally toenail. But again, it felt like a college football game differently in that you had these two powerhouses. Somebody had to lose. Obviously Kansas City lost the first game last year and ended up winning the Super Bowl. But last night lived up to what the first game between two powerhouses should have been.
Oh, it was yes, incredible football game just because it really was just the atmosphere. Of course, the Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City is one of the more raucous stadiums in footballs, and so they were there, obviously all excited. Taylor Swift was there, so I know Hodge was excited, and
I shook it off.
I was very though disappointed in like the fact that the game ends on a reverse call. Calls a return, game's over. I mean,
he was out of bounds.
He was out of bounds. I'm not saying it was a bad call. It was just not the way that I felt like that game should end. And to the credit of the Chiefs, they obviously stepped up and made plays there at the end when it looked like, I mean, they had 89 yards to go with no timeouts and were able to pull it off. They played some good defense right there at the end, forced Lamar Jackson to make a couple bad throws when he had some more open receivers that were in the end zone and on the play before. But I mean, yeah, the hype was lived up to, and that's not always the case on these early season matchups.
Well, and one of the things that I was very frustrated about, and we're going to continue with our Lawrence Hall Headline Report, brought to you by the folks of Lawrence Hall of Abilene, is watching Derrick Henry last night, especially on that first drive. First of all, reminded you how frustrated you were that Jerry Jones didn't give him a call.
Right.
Zane was saying, well, I don't think we could have paid him. I think you could have found a number to bring him there. I think it'd have been convenient. He would have had more money. He's going to lose some of that money in Baltimore, all those things because of income tax and all that. But they forgot Derrick Henry only had 13 rushes last night. To me, if you're going to play the Kansas City Chiefs, you pound and keep Mahomes off the field when Lamar Jackson is the leading rusher, not only with yards, but carries. That's a problem.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, it definitely lived up to the hype. What I found interesting was like, dang, these two teams are already this good, and it's the opener. So I'm like, I can't imagine when we're, 6 weeks in, 10 weeks in, what that's going to look like. But I love the Chiefs, but man, I was like, oh, yes, they just upset them and got some redemption, and then dang that toenail.
Because I think Harbaugh had planned on going for two. He had the two fingers up saying, we're going to go for two to see if we could win this. But it reminds you, and again, the other person you cannot talk about besides Taylor Swift, besides Mahomes, besides Lamar Jackson, is Xavier Worthy is going to be somebody that you got him late in your fantasy round, is going to be a weapon that Patrick Mahomes. I'm not saying he's going to be just like Tyreek Hill was, but he had 3 touches, 2 touchdowns last night.
Yes, and I do have him sitting nicely on the bench on my fantasy football team. So hopefully if somebody else can step up, or I'm going to really regret that. I don't. I was thinking about that afterwards. I was like, he scored 21 points or whatever in fantasy, and I was like, man, I should have started him. But then I looked, I was like, that would have been dumb if I did start him. I didn't know that was going to happen.
Especially,
but I mean, that dude is fast.
Oh yeah, so fast. Broke the record at the combine. All the things. So again, that is our Lawrence Hall Headline Report. Head over there. They got a lot of great back-to-school deals. If you need a new car, truck, or SUV, go check them out. Again, shout out to Moy Garcia is watching us on our Facebook Live. I appreciate you checking us out everywhere you can. When we come back, the Texas Rangers, baseball still happening. Football's in full tilt, but baseball is happening, and the Rangers trying to chip away and get back to the top of the West. Good segment.
Does Facebook hear us when we're at break?
I do not know.
Okay. I do not know.
Because it's supposed to be going to the board.
Okay. I suddenly heard that talking in the background. Like I didn't hear anything, then I heard that, and I thought Misty was like saying something from the restroom.
She's talking to herself.
Like what? Huh? You out of toilet paper?
I was very proud. The top was actually
Open. He's good.
They can't hear us.
Good. Good to know. I was going to make fun of Misty, but no, I can't.
Yeah, you can, just so other people can hear it.
Well, maybe it was not appropriate for other people to hear.
Oh.
That's what they like.
Yeah, they like the breaks way better.
No, you're talking about Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. Just remind me of something that I read yesterday, and the reason why you like Caitlin.
Because I'm white.
You're a racist.
Yeah, that's funny.
I'll tell you, I think we could have, if we had just done it, but they played at Dallas last week again.
Uh-huh.
And I saw friends from Roscoe had gone, and they made it a point to go.
Yeah.
And I think I'm not saying she's
I would totally go.
I'm not saying she's the Taylor Swift of basketball, but she's pretty close.
Yeah, kind
where
of.
you're trying to find a ticket to go watch the Fever play.
That game against Sky was, golly, incredible. But yeah, what I think is funny is how they're trying to play the whole race card.
Yeah.
And more people that are not white are rooting for Caitlin. Like on all of the sports shows, they're like,
I'm going to tell you,
literally not even close. Like,
I read that.
why do we have to bring race into it?
I know, and that's what I thought. It was like, just watch her play. I mean, it's like
It's not even comparable. Like, it's really not. Other
she's
than Angel
getting
rebound.
shots off like Steph Curry was the other night.
She's
an assist
making
leader.
her team so much better. Girls that have hardly scored any points are now having the games of their life because of her.
She is
her
the
average 3-point shot is deeper than Steph Curry.
Yes, it is.
Like,
It is deeper. Yeah.
just
It's insane. But yeah, I'm like, it's just funny, like, that people are trying to say it's because she's white or, yeah, we like her because of this. I'm like, no. Yeah, I give credit where credit's due, and it's not Angel Reese.
but Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharp
Oh, yeah.
the other day on
They
First
were
Take, they were defending because they were being bashed for supporting Caitlin Clark, and they were up on a hard break, is what they call it in the biz. And they had to go, and Molly, yes, no doubt, Moy's saying Stephen A. is on number 22 side. That's saying something come from him, and that's
Well, yeah, and exactly. He's not white. That's what I'm saying. Like, the whole race card is just so funny.
well,
me.
it's starting to
When are we
lose
gonna
its
get away
luster
from
because
that?
I even think Angel Reese has even now become less of a villain than she was at the beginning of it, where everybody wanted it to be a WWE setting, and it's not. They've and they're probably in 4 years going to be. I mean, we just saw them win the All-Star game against
80% of the flagrants on Caitlin came from the Skies team. Just Angel's team.
yeah. Well, and that kind of has slowed down, it appears. I mean, they're not beating the crud out of her all the time.
Yeah.
We are on the country giant. Ball 1, ball 2, ball 3, ball 4. We are clearing the bases. And the Texas Rangers cleared the bases of the big walk-off grand slam, walk-off home runs. A lot to talk about again. It is football season, but the Rangers and Major League Baseball continue to roll into the fall, rolling toward where we get postseason baseball. It is time for our first Bank and Trust Texas Rangers report. I mentioned in the break that again, unfortunately, more injuries are happening, but we're starting to see some record-breaking things happen with rookie Wyatt Langford. And so a lot of good stuff. But Josh, the Yankees came to town, which I'm sure would have felt like a road game for the Rangers, which it normally is. The Yankees are the Dallas Cowboys. They travel well. They got a lot of Yankee fans across the country and including in Texas. But the Rangers starting to play pretty well. But unfortunately, the injury bug has hit Mr. Seager again.
Yeah, that is the downer. There were, started out the week with the news that Tyler Malley was going to be done for the season. He only pitched a few games, so it's really not something that shifted things too much, but you were, looking forward to that, him being back and playing. Then John Gray was put on the injured list. They said his season was done. So, the pitching depth is going the wrong direction. And then you get the news that Corey Seager's going on the DL. With the problem or the worry I have with that is they're not really have released much as to why exactly he had hip soreness. Is it something that's going to be a long-term thing, something that requires surgery? I don't know. Is it just a rest for a little while because we're towards the end of the season when, and it's not looking like a playoff push is in the works, so we can just go ahead and make sure you don't get injured, and which I would agree with that. But all of that then gets wrapped around in the fact that Yankees come to town, take 2 of 3. Suddenly the offense appears to kind of be clicking, and they're scoring some runs. Last night they won 3-1, which was. Adolis Garcia hit a 3-run homer in the first inning, and they didn't score any more runs, but they didn't give up any runs, so it worked out. So yeah, things are it's this last little stretch of the season. I would really like to see the Rangers just play well going into the offseason, build some confidence, get some things going. I don't hold out any sort of
playoff push.
Yeah, I mean it's not out of the realm of possibility, but it's not something to hold your breath on.
But we talk? One of the things that we put in our text chain, and I've got to actually watch a few Ranger games because timing of where I was, I actually had valleys. But just the accomplishment in one season that Wyatt Langford's had.
Yeah, he hit a walk-off grand slam. There was a very strange stat that there was only been one player other than Wyatt Langford now who has done it to hit for the cycle, hit a walk-off grand slam, and what was the other thing? There's I cannot remember now.
Hit for the cycle.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, hit. Well, there was and hit an inside the park home run. Like there's only one other player that's ever done that in the same season, and that was Jackie Robinson, which is just a weird stat. And the other thing to go along with that accomplishment of doing those 3 things, there's only like 7 players that have ever done it across the span of their career. So it's very, very strange. Not that that's an end all be all kind of stat because it's oddball, but it does show just his overall kind of athleticism. He robbed that home run that Giancarlo Stanton hit that in the game that almost went terribly awry. They went into the 9th up 10-2 and ended up winning 10-6. There was that just great play in the outfield. It just continues to show his athleticism. He's come a long way. He had a rough little go of it there, then went on the injured list and came back, and he's living up to the hype.
And another big walk off that had happened. Josh Young had the walk off as well.
Yes.
This past week, and so. Again, it is football season, but baseball is happening. The Texas Rangers are now 7.5 games back. Angels are in town, which should be a beneficial factor if the Rangers take care of business. Should be good for them.
And that's one thing that I would make a note. If you're a longtime Rangers fan, the pregame ceremony tonight is the official retirement of Elvis Andrus, who's going to come back. Be a Ranger for a day, so he will retire as a Texas Ranger. They planned this specifically with the Angels in town so that Ron Washington can take part in that. Remember back to the previous 2 World Series runs. He was a key part of that. Obviously, just the memories that go along with that. So I'm going to make sure that before I go to a football game tonight, I'm going to watch that just. For the vibe for that 2010 2011 time frame and all of the memories that I have from that the thing with Elvis Andrus has been gone for a few years, and he never really was a true superstar, but he was a key cog in those teams, and he ended up with over 2,000 hits in his career, which that's nothing to just shake off.
Well, and Misty, your thoughts on. To me, I think it's cool when organizations recognize that person, and one that I like it when they do the sign as a cowboy for a day. Emmitt Smith did it to come back when he went to Arizona. I think organizations that recognize, and I say this all the time, whether it's at your bank, the co-op, or your bank where you work, or here even at the station, what we do, when people feel valued, in an organization, that it just means a little bit more. And tonight will be a special night in Arlington.
Oh yeah, I mean, I remember watching him play, and he was, like Josh said, he wasn't, the tippy top best player, but he was a fan favorite. And so, I mean,
Emily Jones, big fan.
Yeah, I mean, him coming back. I mean, I loved watching him. He'd get out there and kind of do his little moves sometimes on the bases. I mean, I really enjoyed watching him. I didn't realize he had that many hits. But yeah, like you said, that's nothing to sneeze about. So I think it's really cool that the Rangers organization is doing that for him. And with Ron coming back, it'll just be a special night. And I think it's very well deserved.
Well, and we were a catch short and all that. And 2010 was the year, like, happy to be there.
Right.
And then 2011 was like, oh my gosh, we have a chance to win this thing. And you look back, and of course, I've always said, find the ball, win it all. But then you look back on, you're not there without Nelson Cruz.
Right.
But I just remember, because I had the fortunate of being in the building for games 4 and 5 at Arlington, and how loud it was, the Napoli chants, the Derek Holland staff. I mean, all the guys that were on that team remind you. Now, they didn't go 4 in a row like the Buffalo Bills or the Braves did. Now, the Braves eventually won one in 95. But you do remember those guys that were such an impact. Ian Kinsler, Michael Young, and of course, again, I just keep remembering the loud Napoli chant that was, I mean, deafening in the old ballpark. And it was just a great run of, unfortunately, just coming up short. But
right, and that was just talking about those teams, and Josh Hamilton obviously hit that big home run to go back ahead in the 10th inning there in Game 6 in 2011. So all those heroics that went with that did come up short. I remember how excited I was in 2012, and I still think that was the best Rangers team to ever take the field. But they got beat in the first round of the playoffs and kind of fell apart right at the end of the year. But just reliving those moments, and those are the highlight moments, like you talk about, because I too went to several of those games, and I distinctly remember sitting in probably the worst seat in the entire ballpark. I could quite literally turn around and see my pickup in the parking lot, but above the foul pole in left field, like but it was loud and it was fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun. And again, fortunately, the Rangers got back a little sooner and won one in 2023, and we'll see how 2024 ends. But again, tonight, honoring Elvis Andrus, and of course, Ron Washington hopefully will get to be there, but we'll leave with a loss. When we come back, college football season, what a first weekend. ACU almost upsets Tech. Clemson, rough outing. Texas, all the things happening. We'll talk college football when we come back right after this.
Yeah, Andrews.
I saw that they were going to do that. I was like, that's so cool.
Well, and I read that it was specifically.
They're retiring his jersey. What are they retiring?
Well, he's just officially retiring from baseball because he played last season. This year, he signed with the Arizona Diamondbacks, but then they released him right as the season started, and he never picked back up with anybody. I don't know if he tried or it was I don't know. So then he just announced earlier this summer at some point that he was retiring. So at that point, I guess the Rangers had this plan. They knew towards the end of the year, the Angels were coming to town, so they would do his retirement official. He's going to sign with the Rangers, so he retires as a Ranger. I mean, it's just
it's cool.
Just to feel good.
Yes.
And like I said, I don't know what all is going to go on as far as the pregame thing, but when they did the Michael Young deal, I went to the game, and that's when I met Colby Lewis at the Texas Live.
That's super cool.
So I imagine some of those guys will be there. And
I don't know when that stopped. We did it again. Son of a biscuit.
How would it go? rate review if we can.
No kidding. Jeez.
Jeez, Hodge.
And it's not because I went and
I'm going to
refreshed.
give Hodge 1 star for his ability to not record the show.
I can record parts of it.
Yeah, he remembered this week. But still, something failed.
For your electric cooperative, call stop by our offices in Roby, Snyder, and at Stanford, or visit online at
Did it completely black out or it just
Hi,
stopped?
this is Kyle King with Mulligan Sports Bar and Grill. We just wanted to invite you out.
Lauren back is just, I forgot to turn off our mic. So we were going out to the radio world a little bit.
Oops.
It's $2.
Hope we didn't say anything bad.
Sure, anything. The same deal goes for Sundays for the NFL. Wear your favorite team's gear and get the same specials. And don't forget, we are the official Dallas Cowboys watch party headquarters. We'd love to see you there. Mulligan Sports Bar and Grill, 1166 Ben Ritchie Drive.
There is no way I can qualify.
Hadn't heard Kyle's ad yet. That's kind of good. Kyle did a record for Mulligan and it just played. I hadn't heard it yet. It was good.
Visit colemanbank.com to make your next move.
Your next round. Someday I'm going to be your customer.
Yes.
I don't know when. Maybe if I win the lottery. Then I wouldn't need a phone.
It is the Hodge Pack as we're rocking and rolling here in the first hour. Want to mention our guest picker today is Brack Jones. Brack Jones is music teacher at Wiley West Intermediate, but just released a couple of songs. He's got I don't know if it's a full EP, but has released a song, Ode to Tom. Shout out to Tom Petty. But Brack Jones, about 8:15ish, will be here as we do our Fat Matt Roofing picks, brought to you by Fat Matt Roofing, our Hodge Pack Pick'em sponsor for the year. Appreciate Fat Matt. Fat Matt does that.
He does do that.
He does that. Yeah, Fat Matt does that, and he'll do that a little bit later as we do our picks with Brack. And one of the things we had last week was some college football full slate, and we put this as one of our Black Plumbing social media question. What was one of the worst bets that you've ever had? There was a student. Did you see the Florida State guy that said he would eat some dog poo out of a red Solo cup if they lost to Boston College? Now, as a team that just lost to Georgia Tech, I don't think I would not put any poop on any kind of bet.
But like, who chooses poop? Like, how do you even go there? Like, that's so extreme. Like,
I'll be
poop
honest
would
with you.
never enter my mind.
There is nothing that I am confident in that I would put that on there. I mean, I would bet whatever. It's just not happening.
Well, obviously he's not going to do it because he just deleted his Twitter account and disappeared. So
I'm just like, I don't know. I think it's crazy that someone would be like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna eat poo." Like, well, I just can't. Like, I just don't know that you come up with that.
No,
That's
it's
just
pretty
crazy.
bad. And honestly, I'd be insulted if I was a Red Solo Cup company because
I mean, exactly.
our Solo Cups need to have something in it besides poo.
well, I thought it was very descriptive to go into even like what vessel you're going to use to hold the poo.
Right.
But
Anyway, so if you've got a bet that you've was pretty dumb, and the result of it, send it to us on Facebook or on our Twitter, X, formerly known as Twitter. I don't think we can until we get it. We got to get in the top 25 and talk about the games that have happened, including A&M losing to Notre Dame, which many of you heard here on KLGD, and you can hear A&M tomorrow against McNeese State. But I think we got to go straight to you, Misty. You were at the Jones on Saturday. A lot of purple, I'm assuming, probably made the trip from ACU for the ACU Texas Tech game. And I had said all along that I think Tech needed to, win it in a way that was kind of convincing that I'm the Power 5 school. ACU go and opportunity, you're going to play first game in the new renovated Jones and all that. And they were a play away from not only ruining the opener for Texas Tech, but coming out with a win.
Y'all, the way that people were losing their minds, I have to say I am a Tech fan, but it was quite entertaining there towards the end. Just like people, I thought there were going to be tears. I know that Tech ended up winning that game, but that was an upset any other way you slice it, even though Tech won. I was not at all prepared for that. I really thought that Tech was going to just completely mow them down. And, a couple scores in, I even said to Clay, I'm like, Tech's going to mess around and lose this game. And then here came ACU, and oh my gosh, their quarterback he can air it out like nobody's business. He was so entertaining to watch. I have to say that I enjoyed watching ACU and what they did more than Tech as a Tech fan. But yeah, to me, that what should not have been at all remotely close. And it was definitely embarrassing for Tech. And I hope they learned some lessons. And kudos to ACU because they put on a heck of a show.
Well, Maverick McIver went 506 yards for 3 touchdown passes. Had a brief stint at Tech, and even Coach McGuire talked about it because he was the one that got interviewed because they ended up winning. Was talking about how there was a couple of kids on the team of ACU that played for him not long ago, and he mentioned there's a lot of, and that's one of the things that the portal's done is allowed you to go and get that playing time, and so ACU doing what they did. Now it's twofold because a lot of our Texas Tech friends like, well, a W is a W, and that's all that matters when the season's over. To an extent, that's right. But what happens in the next 10 to 11 games matters how much that W means or doesn't mean. And in the same word for ACU, how do you come off of that high? And unfortunately, they had the wreck that didn't help that, and everybody's okay and good and since that. But now, how do you come off of that high and not come off of it, but continue it? Because you mentioned, what does Texas Tech learn from this? Well, what does ACU learn from this as they go on now and go back to the group of 5 and go back to the FCS guys and start playing? I think that's going to be a big tell for Coach Patterson and the ACU Wildcats.
It obviously will be because, like you mentioned, it's easy to have letdowns in sports. When you have that emotional high, you have to, and that's why coaches have to do what they do, because you got to be able to coach through that and get people's head back in the right place. There are no such thing as moral victories, as they say, but you still walk away from that knowing that you were in the game, and it's like, okay, we can play with these guys. We can now go play the rest of our schedule, and we can play with them also. So it gives you that confidence to move forward. You just, like I said, you can't get let down, and you can't think, well, now this will be easier, because it's not going to be easier. It's just, different opponent on a different day, so we'll see how that goes. I will tell you specifically, because of that game, I was too scared to put the Tech Washington State game on the pick'em this week because I didn't know who I wanted to pick.
It was insane, but I've got a question for y'all. And I've heard this discussion with several friends we've had. Did you think that ACU should have went for 2 before they kicked to send it into overtime? Like, I've heard that wore the momentum. I think that I'm like, why didn't you just try to win it then? But like, we go to overtime, and that was super exciting. But I don't know. I'm like, the momentum, it was crazy. You came back, and then you went for 2 in overtime. and you didn't succeed. So what?
And I didn't like the play call on the
Well,
final
and that's
play,
one thing.
but
But I've heard multiple things, and I mean, Coach Patterson's been on the show. Probably could reach out to him or.
Yeah.
The
What
offensive-
was your thoughts as a former coach?
Well, I think either time was fine because when you did score that touchdown in regulation, or your momentum was still on your side, because I think either time either time you had nothing to lose because you are the team that it shouldn't have been that close outside. ACU probably had all the confidence in the world. Like I talked about, confidence. Boston College had confidence in their locker room that they could beat Florida State in the same realm. I don't have a problem when you go for two because I feel like momentum was on their side either way. But again, as far as the play call, yeah, it was. I don't know if it was what was called or if it ended up being a busted play.
Right, something didn't.
It looked
didn't
busted.
work.
Yeah.
And
But yes,
because
I
felt
was
like
fine
the quarterback
either
was
way.
going to run, and so
I'd have rolled him.
the rollout was what I personally was thinking was going to happen. Then that didn't happen, and I don't know if that was on purpose or not. But it's also kind of I think about this. If I'm sitting here thinking, all right, I'm running a rollout with the quarterback, you know, and I'm a layperson. I'm not a defensive coach. Then obviously you I guess you can kind of start second guessing yourself, you know, thinking, all right, well, this is what they're thinking is going to come, so we're not going to do that. You know,
Exactly.
it's like it's got to be your bull. You know, so
Yeah.
We don't have a bull. But anyway, a lot of good week, great football that weekend. Let's talk about the rest of the college football weekend. Florida State, I should have got in. They lose again to Boston College. Clemson, of course, Dabo's catching a lot of flack of the no portal and all that sort of thing. Georgia is going to do that to a lot of other people. Clemson still has a clear path to the college football playoff. Miami, I think the ACC may be a little more difficult. You mentioned SMU. You have SMU in your top 12, correct?
I was back and forth on it. I don't even remember what I finally went with. I wrote it down.
But so what shocked y'all? What was y'all's impressions of first week of official week one of college football?
I think for me, it was the fact that FSU lost to Boston College. I mean, because I have them winning, obviously, and kind of high on them and wanted some redemption from last year for them. But now I'm like, good grief, like get it together. I don't even know what's happening. Like they're just such a disappointment so far to me. And now I'm regretting my life choices of picking them.
Well, you know, I think they obviously had a good run last year, felt very snubbed by not making the playoffs in the previous format. And they've just not recovered. I mean, they had basically a mass walkout, you know, didn't perform well in bowl season. Overrated, obviously, going into this season. So I'm actually not surprised by it at all, because when I watched that first game when they played, and I thought this team is clearly overrated, and then they don't really drop in the polls, you know, just kind of still hanging out in the top 10, and then get beat again, you know. So that's now we don't have to worry about them being overrated, at least for a little while.
We know they suck.
But the other thing, you know, was Notre Dame going on the road to College Station. Obviously, a legendary atmosphere there. I do have Notre Dame picked to be in my top 12 to go to the playoffs. So I was watching that game. I was intently watching it because I knew that if my Notre Dame making it to the playoff pick was to come true, they would really need to win that game because they don't have a conference to get that automatic bid. A&M was one of the stronger games on their schedule, you know. So for just the general, you know, strength of resume going into, you know, the rest of the season, they needed that win. And it was impressive to go in there with, you know, that first game of the season. I believe all 5 of their offensive linemen were new, you know, so like had no returning
At Notre Dame.
Yeah. No returning offensive linemen, hostile road environment, you know, SEC, you know, nationally ranked team. That was impressive. And I'm now high on my Notre Dame pick. We'll see how the rest of the season goes because, like I said, they have to do it themselves. They can't just like lose a few games and win a conference, which the ACC has. Like you mentioned with Clemson, they can lose a non-conference big game, get boat raced, but they can still win their conference and make it to the playoffs.
Yeah, and there's a lot of good games this weekend that probably won't get as much attention. Of course, the big one is Michigan and UT. UT going there. College game day will be there tomorrow. But a lot of great games. We'll talk about those. We'll get to them with our pick'ems a little bit later. Josh mentioned some games that didn't make it in. Scared of the Tech Washington State game. I think the BYU SMU game, and I think Oklahoma State trying to continue their run to say, hey, we stay put. Can they beat Arkansas this week? When we come back, Misty's bag and Scotty McQuarrie just a week away. Are you going to TT again?
I
Good night.
quite honestly was like putting down the games for the pick'em, and I said, I don't know who I picked that, so I'm not putting it in.
Yeah, Tech and Washington State. Tech needs it more than Washington State. Washington State, that they were supposed to play Oregon, but when Oregon went to the Big Ten, that changed.
Yeah.
Miami had a big week. Cam Ward.
Make sure you have an experience that you're going to tell your friends about. Check out ToastyLive.com or go live at ToastyLive.com. Ticket events. Head out to the Toasty at 897 before the Toasty Live experience.
When it comes to finding the right vehicle, there's no better place than Lawrence All in Abilene. For over 34 years, Lawrence All in Abilene has been the place to find the best in Chevrolet and GMC. That is still true. Great parts and great service too. So the next time you need a new car, truck, or SUV, come see us. We're shop 24/7 at Lawrence All Abilene online.com. We're Abilene's best new car dealer for 28 years. How you find a customer?
I'm here, Mom. You're not.
We'll come back to a Scotty McQuarrie
Yeah.
song.
You said Odie, I almost laughed at you.
What is it?
Ode? It's pronounced like old is in Merkelite.
I need her to wrap it up. Brad can come in if he wants.
Where's the outside? Where?
He was.
Country living John Key. I am resident at this building Resources Incorporated. I'm here to tell you about our definite disruption and agricultural business. Sources to
Sorry. This body spirit like up
Bodies.
my butt. I'm kind of thinking about making a spark. I don't know if we have any of these weird waters. I'm gonna open it back here instead of it.
Oh,
Oh, we have one left. Taking it. I'm gonna make a damn mess. Oh. Actually, that wasn't bad. Okay, that I feel like this is a little whiter than that. Maybe not.
David Country. Application process.
you brought like a whole bucket of drink mix up in here?
It's serious business. I think it's serious. This is serious business. Spark. I'm gonna be all hopped up on Mountain Dew or whatever it is. What's the saying?
What is this?
We're gonna do something different for Misty's bag today. I think it'll be entertaining. We'll see how you fare.
Same deal for Sunday for the NFL. Where your favorite teams get some specials, and don't forget, we are the official Dallas Cowboys watch party headquarters. You'd love to see you there. Sports Bar at 66 in Mission Drive.
Go watch the Cowboys there on Sunday.
Yeah, party foul.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Hodge Pack Sports Life and everything in between. Feeling it. Scott McCurry feeling it real good. Coming to Mulligan's next Saturday, September 14th, Mulligan's Bash. Scott McCurry, Ashley Cook, Della Rose, Caleb Sutton. Be sure you get your tickets. Tickets still available. Check them out. Scott McCurry, big deal Nashville act coming to Abilene. Now, of course, we got to change it. We can't do this segment without, for sure, knowing what is in the bag.
Yes. With the dance moves, I cannot. Oh
You're
my
welcome,
gosh.
Facebook.
Thank you so much for that. Okay, so we're going to do something a little different. So obviously the NFL is here. Last night that was such a thriller, last little toenail in. So I'm going to let you guys work together. And we're going to do a little bit of trivia. So I want to know, there are 12 NFL teams that have never won a Super Bowl. I want to know who they are and who will be the first to get off that list.
12 have never won a Super Bowl.
Okay. Tennessee Titans,
Correct.
Houston Texans.
Correct.
Jacksonville Jaguars,
Yes.
Cleveland Browns.
Yes.
The hesitation, like, when did they win one?
Uh-huh.
Well, here, Josh, we'll just do this.
No, you.
No, I wasn't going to Google. I was going to I was going to put the teams out there. No, I wasn't going to.
I've been trying to think of the Chargers.
Chargers have not won one.
Correct.
The Vikings have not won one.
Correct.
How many are we on?
Like 5 or 6.
Well, that's going to be important. Hang on.
Yeah, we got to write something down. This requires
I mean,
notes.
this is my question. How you answer it's on you.
All right, let's go back. I said Titans, Texans, Browns,
Jaguars,
Jags,
Chargers.
I think those are
Vikings.
ones. 1, 2, Vikings. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 6 more that have not. So let's go. Just going to go by the divisions. Buffalo Bills.
Correct.
Yeah.
I was like,
But-
that's an easy one.
I'm like, is she at commercial break or what? Buffalo Bills, dial up internet on the response. So Miami's 1-1, the Jets have 1-1, and the Patriots obviously have 1-1. The Ravens have won 2. The Steelers have obviously, and the Browns.
Mhm.
The Bengals have not.
Yeah, the Bengals.
Oh, yes.
Good
correct.
night, Almighty.
Y'all-
Hey,
You
hey,
asked a question and then it just disappeared.
yeah,
Oh, you answer.
But- but we are. We said the Bengals, and they were like silent.
I
So
mean, y'all should know
You're-
this.
we're needing to confirm. You're the one with the answer key. All right. So the Bengals. Okay. So now let's go to the AFC West. The Chiefs obviously have 1-1. The Broncos, the Raiders have, and we've mentioned
Yeah,
the Chargers have not. So now let's go.
NFC East, everybody has.
AFC East, we've already handled that one. The South, Texans, have already got them down. The Colts have 1-1. The Jags, and who else is in that division? The Titans.
Oh, yeah.
We already got
Yeah,
them
yeah,
down.
Yeah.
So now let's go to the NFC East. Everybody in that division is 1-1.
Yeah.
The South, the Saints, Panthers.
Yes.
Ding, thank you.
Okay.
The Panthers have not.
Yeah.
The Bucks have,
The
and
Panthers
the Falcons have not.
See, the Falcons were the
Six,
one I
seven,
was
eight,
stuck
nine,
on
10.
because I
We've
remember
got
they've been to
10.
a couple Super Bowls.
We've got
but-
10. She said there's 12. All right, so we've gone that direction. NFC West. The Rams have, the Cardinals.
Yes, Cardinals.
We have one more, Josh. Seattle has, the 49ers have, and the Seahawks have.
Yeah.
So
So we got Vikings, Bears.
that's
Lions.
Lions is the
Yeah,
last one.
Lions.
Good job. I'm impressed
Job.
with the divisional breakdown.
Yeah, that's
Like-
that. I mean, that's the way. That's what I was going to look at was
But
just to see. But yes,
When I was going through the divisions, I was thinking, and I was confused on some of them because, like, I know the Falcons have gotten very close. They obviously had
Well, they had
this
a-
meltdown in Super Bowl.
and they've
history.
been to multiple.
Yeah,
not
they
just
have,
28-3.
Back in the Dirty Bird era and all of that. But the Lions was the one that I was stuck on because they've been a football team for like a whole long time. And so I was thinking back, but I guess they probably have won championships, but that was pre-Super Bowl era.
Who's that?
The Lions.
Yes, they've won.
Like-
Well, and that's the thing they talked about on Get Up this past week with Greeny, and we're working on getting him. He's got a new book coming out. We had a great time with Got Your Number. He's got a book coming out called Got Your Answers. But see, the Packers had won the NFL championship the year before the first Super
Right.
Bowl and won back-to-back Super Bowls. So the 3 Super Bowls in a row has still not been done, and the Chiefs have a chance to do that. So we answered that. Who's going to be of that 12 to win a Super Bowl?
who comes off the list first?
It's
Well, we've got.
put the list where I can read it one more time. I can't read your handwriting.
You're not going to rewrite
Never,
it.
never mind.
Let me try that again. Keep
No.
going.
Well, I'm thinking through that list, and I don't think any of them are really strong contenders this year, at least like compared to the rest of the pack. I mean, the Lions would like to make that move, and I guess they have the possibility of doing so. The Bills have not done anything to make me think that they're actually going to get off the schneid this year. I mean, especially with the strength that it looks like there is in the AFC. Won't be the Falcons. Probably not the year for the Chargers. Same reason as the Bills. I would say the Lions have the best opportunity. But I don't feel strongly about any of them.
That's why they're on the list.
Yeah.
Well, I think if you start looking at them, I think the first thing you have to look at is the quarterback position, and with the combination of the head football coach.
And I would say the Texans, and not this year, but they're moving in the right direction.
If I've thrown out there, and we're going to have take it or trash it later on, but if Kirk Cousins can play at a level, maybe, because he's going to have some of the best weapons he's had. Obviously, Justin Jefferson is probably the best receiver he's ever had, but he's going to have possibly a healthy Kyle Pitts, Langdon, Bijan, a not very good division. I think the biggest struggle is you've got to look at the AFC, and we saw it again last night. You've got to remember Patrick Mahomes is still playing. And until things change or Andy Reid retires and we try to find out, was it Andy or Pat, or was it Pat, or was it Andy, or was it the combination like Bill and Tom? And Jamar Chase can't get signed because they can't figure that out. A healthy Joe Burrow, you remember, is the only one that have beaten Mahomes, went on, they lost to the Rams in the Super Bowl. I would probably say the Bengals, and I've got the Texans circled as probably, and if I were to rank them, I would go Texans, Bengals, and then the Lions would be the third. And we don't know what Jim Harbaugh or Justin Herbert are going to be like. So I know you wanted one, but if I was going to rank them, I would go Bengals and Texans and maybe the Lions. But again, Jared Goff's got to prove that he can do that.
No, I agree with that completely. And the reason I said the Lions first is because they were close last year. So I feel like of that group, they're the closest. But the Bengals and the Texans, I will also agree the Texans is more of that long term, but maybe is the first out of that group just because CJ Stroud's moving in the right direction and they seem to be,
And they're going to have a
like-
loaded team with
Yeah.
the acquisitions they've had.
right.
Answer-
No, I would
Answer your own
I
question.
would say the Texans and the Lions probably would be the first off that list for me. I kind of go with the same theory as Josh. And I mean, we've been high on the Lions the last couple of years, Josh and I have. So I would keep with the Lions. But another trivia question out of this group: who is the oldest franchise without a Super Bowl appearance on this list?
I'm still going to say the Lions.
It's the Lions.
The Cardinals are the oldest
Oh.
franchise without a Super Bowl appearance.
I guess they counted when they left St. Louis and got.
They go back to
They're the same.
Yeah.
They Houston Oilered
yes.
to Tennessee like they did that. They basically went from St. Louis to Arizona. All right, that's good
why they were
stuff.
the NFC East for a
Yes,
while,
which was
baffling.
Yes, it was very weird.
It
No, it was, and maybe we'll have some more trivia. But again, trivia next is take it or trash it. Week 1 of the NFL season has kicked off last night in Brazil tonight, and a full slate of games this weekend. We'll be back, kicking off the 8 o'clock hour right after this.
Caribbean.
Let's see.
You.
What's up, Bragg?
Yeah, give y'all some trivias.
Josh Greer. Good to see you.
I saw that. I was reading an article about the Super Bowl appearances, and I was like, ooh, I need to find out who hasn't made it. Y'all did really well. I'm impressed, Hodge, that you can go by division. I could not do that.
My son can do that in baseball.
I could not do that. Yeah.
It's a game that they like to play. We drive down the road, doesn't want to play, so I'll say NL East, and then I'll start naming the team.
No. Yeah. I'm just like, that's impressive to me.
All right. What am I looking for? New.
Okay, what are we doing? Take it. You got some take it or trash it? Did you come up with any?
Yeah.
I've got 4 that I'm bringing to the table. Okay. So we'll do one more segment and then you'll be on.
Can I look up Ode to Tom on the internet computer and play it as we come back?
And
Huh?
I don't get paid. That'll be the first time on the radio.
No, I can't play the whole song. Huh? I could play it at the.
Because of time or because you're not allowed to?
Time.
Okay.
We could end the show with it, like play it coming back.
I can
Like,
roll the credits.
well, like, no, what I'm saying is I can play like we did Scotty McCurry as the comeback to talk about him coming to next week.
I don't know.
How would I Google it? I mean, where would I go there?
Wherever you want. Apple Music, iTunes, YouTube, Pandora, Spotify.
Where'd you record? I listened to your stuff on Spotify yesterday when I saw your name on the rundown. So.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah.
I went to Fort Worth Sound.
Okay.
Mark Rose, and the Stoney Rue does there. Toadies are recorded there. Casey Donahue and Pat Green just did something right after I was in there.
So do they have like the musicians and everything? You just like go with their
Yeah.
studio people?
Ode to Tom right here.
I was told, Greg told me get the A team, and so that's the terminology I use. And so the bass player was Miranda Lambert, the keyboard player just came off with Cody James.
Yeah.
Well, and it did sound very good.
Nice,
I mean, it's
yeah.
like,
Yeah, I was like, all we need is a singer. We're a pretty good band.
Oh, I love what it takes to make Spark.
Sorry, I'm just now afraid
Is it
that
clumping up?
that it's gonna like shoot all over me whenever I.
now it's red.
I know.
The shake weight.
Shake. That was I wish I would have come up with that.
That episode of South Park was very, very funny.
From doing that.
I doubt it. Probably right up there at the top.
I did not.
You get huge forearms.
I'm just like, it's just such an awkward move.
I don't know if y'all need that, but I did make a little bigger deal. If you had to put notes on your pick'ems, I have little notes.
No, I did not.
Not to fill anything out to be an official picker.
No, you just got to tell them, and Josh will write them down.
It is time for the Hodge Pack scores and everything in between. Misty, it's time for
We are kicking off hour number 2 here in the Potosi Live studio. We're glad that you're with us this morning, hoping that you're enjoying it, whether it's on KLGD in your car or KLGD1069.com. Listens to us anywhere in the world. Of course, we are on YouTube as well. Head over to our Hodge Pack Sports YouTube channel and subscribe. Get your friends, subscribe, do all the things there. NFL Week 1 kicked off last night. Big thriller, 27-20. Chiefs on their way to defend their Super Bowl championship, opportunity to make history. If they would have had smaller feet, the Ravens would have had a chance to.
Yeah, just one size too big on the shoe.
Yeah, shoes matter. So go sure. Hey, come down to the mall if you need some new shoes. Plenty of places to get those. But Week 1 is coming up. Well, it's here. We're in Brazil tonight for the Packers and Eagles. A lot of storylines there. Can Jordan Love continue his success? Had a great playoff run last year. Of course, unfortunately, us Cowboy fans remember that way too well. And then Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni, the big debate there. I think the NFC East is wide open as far as division-wise. I think it's between 3 teams, with the Giants being the 4th, that I don't think will handle it. But as we look into this week, we were going to look at and start a new segment called Take It or Trash It. Each one of us will have a couple of questions that we're going to throw out to where, hey, you know what? I'll take that. That's a good point. Good. You know, when we said a while ago, we think the Bengals are going to be the first one, or the Texans to be the first of the 12 to win a Super Bowl. Okay, take it. Or if we'd have said somebody like the Panthers, we obviously would have trashed that real quick. So, Misty, we got Week 1. Of course, the Dallas Cowboy Radio Network is right here on KLGD. Cowboys are heading to Cleveland this week. A big, tough first road game for the Cowboys. Of course, Dak is still basically playing on a big scratch-off lottery ticket. Some thought they might have him signed before the end of the beginning of the regular season. Doesn't look like that's going to happen between now and Sunday. But you can hear the Cowboys and the Browns this Sunday on KLGD. So, Misty, we're going to go give you the first take it or trash it question. Josh and I have already worked together. Are we going to take it, or are we going to trash what you're thinking?
All right. So the new dynamic kickoff, take it or trash it.
Haven't seen it enough. I'd just assume trash it. I would rather just see the regular chance for somebody to take it to the house. Most of the kickoffs the kickers have got such a great big leg anyway. 9 times out of 10, they're kicking it out of the end zone, and it's a touchback anyway. I like the kickoff return. I like the opportunity to see somebody take it to the house. So I'm trashing it because I haven't seen enough of it to appreciate it. So I'm going to trash it.
I'm with you there. It still just looks very funny. And it might grow on me, but it looks funny.
Okay.
I'm always confused. Like, I look up at the TV and I'm like, what's going on?
It
And
is
I'm like,
weird.
oh.
It reminds me of like,
It's like Church League. I don't like it.
well, I don't know necessarily churchly, but it reminds me of like Toy Story. Somebody got the little green army men and put them out to fight. And I feel like there ought to be some like,
Yes, they are.
like West Side Story, like rock, paper, scissors before you go first, or line up and play Red Rover, ask Xavier Worthy to come over or something like that. So I'm definitely trashing the new kickoff. I'm not a fan. All right, I'll throw out mine, take it or trash it. My first one is going to be that Caleb Williams, let me rephrase it, change it. Bo Nix and Sean Payton are going to be the best rookie quarterback coach combo, and they have found their new Drew Brees love. Bo Nix and the Broncos will be the most successful rookie quarterback this year.
I'll take that.
I will too.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I thought that might get trashed because of all the other rookie quarterbacks. But I do. I think Bo Nix,
Caleb Williams is the 1A there, but I don't expect big things from him. So I'll go with
some of the people out there for their bold pick. A lot of times everybody's bold picking is that Caleb Williams not only wins Rookie of the Year, but Dominic Foxworth said he'll win the MVP, which that's a very bold, and I would trash that. But I think Bo Nix, he's older. He played it forever at Auburn, then went to Oregon and had a great success career there. And it gives Sean Payton a chance to redeem himself as the quarterback guy, because even when Drew Brees left, he battled and found ways to win with Taysom Hill at quarterback, or Jameis Winston, who's the big pep talk guy now. At New Orleans, but then you got a Super Bowl winning quarterback in Russell Wilson, and they could not jive. That marriage did not work, and of course Russell is now gone. So I do think that Bo Nix will be the most successful rookie quarterback this year, and I'm shocked. Think that would happen for sure.
He's like, I'm used to it. Been happening for years.
All right, Josh, give us one of your take it or trash it.
all right. This going to like quarterbacks in that situation there. There's a lot of back and forth with the Cowboys, and are they going to sign Dak Prescott? After watching the preseason where they tried to see if Trey Lance was any good, the Cowboys, I'm going to say this, the Cowboys have to sign Dak Prescott and probably should do it before Sunday.
I'm going to take it. I want to trash it, but I do think you're exactly right. And a lot of the other thing, you listen to the national stations and national shows, and they are like, Dak, go do you, and then you can go wherever you want. And the price tag that's going to be out there that you're going to be able to claim is not just $60 million. It may be $65 million if he can go on a run and take the Cowboys on a playoff run, take the Cowboys obviously to a Super Bowl. So I'm going to take it, and I wish they'd have got it done sooner to get the distraction out of the way, because your next distraction for the 2025 season is going to be Micah Parsons and getting him signed. So, yes, I'm going to take it. But you're not a big Dak. I could see you
I'm trashing this because he can't get it done. We do not need to sign him. He needs to go. At this point, let's gamble with somebody new. We already know what Dak's going to do. He cannot give us any sustained success postseason or in the playoffs. So I'm trashing him.
All right, so I'm going to play this for the people out listening. What you talking about, Willis? You wrong. Wrote it down. September 6th. Misty just put Dak in the trash on the way back.
Let's see what he can do this season.
It's going to be better.
Which will be
All right,
us.
Misty, your turn.
Cousins will have a better season than Aaron Rodgers.
I'm actually going to trash that, even though I think my bold pick, and I called in to Freddie and Harry Douglas, who was on the show. The only people that heard it was on the radio because we didn't get it recorded. That's another story. I don't know. Push the red button. Put the red button. Anyway, so my bold statement for the season is Kirk Cousins and the Falcons will be this year's Matthew Stafford and Tom Brady, new team, veteran quarterback, win the Super Bowl. But I do think Aaron Rodgers is going to have that chip on his shoulder. I hope he plays more than 4 plays. He is playing for a big media market, a franchise that has not figured out a way to overcome the butt fumble, overcome all the things that the Jets have struggled with. I'm going to say, trash it. Aaron Rodgers has a better season than Kirk Cousins.
I'm glad that butt fumble came up because that's one of my favorite things that I've ever seen and heard, and I hadn't thought about it in a long time, so I got to replay that in my mind. So I appreciate that this morning, Hodge. I'm going to take it. I think that that Kirk Cousins has always been somewhat slighted, but it has been on the cusp of being one of those top tier quarterbacks. As Hodge mentioned earlier, mine's just Justin Jefferson. The whole package of what he has around him now is the best that he's ever had. And I think he'll have a statistically good season. I'm not picking him to win the Super Bowl like Hodge is, but I will take that he has a better statistical season than Aaron Rodgers.
All right, your turn.
All right, my next one goes to wherever wherever Brazil. What town are they playing in?
Somewhere in Brazil, I don't know. Sao Palatonio or something.
Sao Palatonio is not, but that's what like
Sao Palatonio is a sideline guy.
wherever Brazil is. Brazil is south. It's in a different hemisphere.
Yeah.
So I guess it's fall there, spring there. I guess I don't know.
It's football
Very-
season.
Very strange. I'm confused by geography right now, but I'm going to say that this game kicks off the beginning of a bad season for the Philadelphia Eagles.
I'm going to take it and I'm going to agree with it because I think unless they went to marriage counseling, the Sirianni, Jalen Hurts situation, I hate that they got Saquon Barkley because I think Saquon Barkley could be for the Eagles what Derrick Henry should be for the Ravens. But I do think that's going to be the case. I'm going to take that and agree.
Yeah, the same. I'm going to take it. Okay, I've got one for y'all. Caleb Williams will be a bust.
Trash. I think
He's so high on him, I knew he would.
total trash that. And the reason why he is in one of the best situations that a first-round rookie quarterback's ever been in. He's got DJ Moore. He's got Keenan Allen. He's got a good core of weapons as opposed to Bryce Young, who came in and nobody could name anybody that played for him. They would guess Baker Mayfield and forgot that he already got traded. So I'm going to trash it. I think the Bears have a chance to find a way to get in the playoffs if Caleb Williams can play. So I'm trashing it.
Yeah, the big if is Caleb Williams can play, and I'm taking it. He will be a bust.
Okay, we've got about a minute, and I don't. What do we consider a bust?
Well, I mean, they just went through this whole thing with Justin Fields, drafted him first round. Everyone talked about how he was the next big thing. Last year was his best season as an NFL player, and then they decided, nope, scratch that, we're going again. And I just don't think that's a good situation. I think that Caleb Williams also didn't have a very good end to his college career, and that worries me as far as you go from that to a first-round draft pick to go to the NFL. I think what qualifies as a bust, I'm not really sure, and maybe he turns out well in the future, but I do not think this year he ends up a top 10 quarterback.
Well, I think he has as much chance to do a C.J. Stroud year as C.J. Stroud did at Houston with better weapons. And now Stroud has better weapons now than he had last year, adding who they've added. My last one is the 49ers are going to be the biggest disappointment. They're not going to make the playoffs. They're going to be on the outside looking in. I just feel like their hourglass of time, as the days of our lives used to say, is running out. And the pressure of Brock Purdy is going to be there because he's still, remember, living with his parents, making not very much money. Contract money is going to be coming. They will be the biggest disappointment this year, the 49ers.
I will trash that. They will win the NFC West. Not saying that they're going to win the Super Bowl necessarily, but trash that. They'll have a successful season.
Completely agree. Yeah, I'm trashing that.
Well, you're in luck. We're going to go to commercial, and I'm trashing your thoughts, and we're going to have our guest picker right after this.
That was, you looked at me on the rod, you were like, it was like, oh, I like what you just said. That was good. Okay. Yeah, I like that segment. That's the first time I've ever done that. But yeah, that one was good.
Give us a call, 325-282-69.
Okay, picks.
All right, how do we want to sit?
You go here. Me and you can stand in.
You can sit.
Okay, I mean, I'll just stand.
Yeah, just make yourself.
Yeah, sit or remove that. You can stand, whatever you want to
I'm
do.
going to take notes. Write down y'all's picks.
Yeah. Here's the list.
I hadn't picked the Cowboys Browns yet. I don't know if we want to pick. I don't really want to pick.
Probably 50-50.
honestly.
I think I've got to throw the Browns.
It's so cold in here today.
I'm good enough.
Oh, normally I'm
good.
not.
Great service too. The next time you're new, come see us. We're 24/7 at Warsaw Adelaide online.com. Adelaide is back. We've worked here for 28 years.
Enjoy the cozy live experience yet? If not, you're missing one of the best atmospheres around. Amazing food, great drinks, live music, TVs to watch your favorite sporting events. The Potosi Live team will make sure you have an experience that you're going to tell your friends about. Check out PotosiLive.com or go live at Potosi Live on Facebook for upcoming live music and ticket events. Head out to Potosi at 897 FM 1750 for the Potosi Live experience.
Any day of the week. Like when you get a case of the Mondays, swap it for the bright fruit flavors of Happy Thursday. Or when Tuesday needs a tuna, look forward to Happy Thursday. And by Wednesday, you're already halfway there. So drink in the weekend flavor of Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday Spike Refreshers. Weekend flavor and bigger.
Spike Refreshers.
Okay.
And first bacon trust. Story started in
Yeah.
1996.
So we'll.
We are proud to be a small part of your success.
Well, what are you doing?
I don't want this to come back as the intro, so I can do that. Okay.
We see potential ideas, innovation, growth everywhere.
What will it be? Oh, okay.
Oh, Coach Rome made it too. There we go. We're all good. Oh, perfect. Okay.
$6 for students and include trip around to fishing. So buy your tickets today online at WestTexasFairRodeo.com and don't miss any of the rodeo action during the 2024 West Texas Fair and Rodeo.
That probably went well.
It did, I know it over. It's great. Cousin close, but yeah, it was good. It was good.
Welcome back to the Hodge Pack. You hear Brack Jones, Ode to Tom is our, as you hear that, be sure you go download it everywhere you can get music. Joining us in studio, in the Potosi Live studio is Brack Jones. Brack, celebrity guest picker this morning. Thanks for being here.
Hey, celebrity and my name in the same sentence. Almost. That was pretty good.
Yeah, it's a big deal, and we've got more to come. Don't forget our Big Country Electric My Town segment will be Coach Roan, as we have a wrestling match between Misty and Josh happening for those.
There's a mosquito.
Hey, when the mosquitoes or the bugs are bothering you, call Pest Patrol, 325-673-6700. We're bringing our Pest Patrol to life. We are doing our picks a little bit different, but we're doing it earlier in the show, and it's time to do those. Again, this song here, Brack's song. Before we get into it, talk a little bit about this song. What you wrote this one?
Yes, sir.
Wrote it. Tell our listeners a little bit about it, and of course, we'll be playing a little bit more here on KLGD.
Well, I've just been dabbling in music since forever, I guess, and finally wanted to put some things down and record, and kind of got inspired. And over Christmas, I'm a teacher by trade. I teach music, so I get to cheat at being musical. But over Christmas break, had a minute and had the chorus of this is only 2 notes and 3 words. Please remember me, and that was stuck in my head. And then I thought, you know what? What if Tom had more experience with with Mary Jane, and then it just kind of that came out. I've got recordings on my phone. It was meant to be. Not that it's only as good as what I could write, but I have enjoyed that process. Love Tom Petty.
Right.
Overlooked as an American songwriter, I think, doesn't get as much credit as he could. So.
Right. Well, and Josh, you've wrote some songs, and you know how hard that is to put your thoughts to words on paper and going from there.
Oh yeah, the process of getting it on paper is the hard part. You have it in your mind, and then getting it written down where you can remember it the next time, and all of that. That is. But it's a good piece of songwriting. I listened to it last night, like I was telling you earlier. Put it on my Spotify, and I'm glad to now get to meet you. So.
That's right. And feel free to come to the mall. You can get autographs from Brack Jones and Coach Roan a little bit later. But now it is time for I haven't played this sound bit in a bit, but it is time to play this right here. We put that because our celebrity guest picker, you may not know he's a celebrity, but now you're going to know that Brack is a celebrity. Last week, Papa Greer had a good week, came up short, was smarter than Molly, but came up short behind Phil Hill. And so we are going to dive into our picks. Couple of games that didn't make it to the pick sheet was the A&M game. Of course, you can hear that tomorrow. A&M better take care of McNeese State, but we all know very well what happens to if you overlook a team. You can be down to a 2-point conversion before you win. You mentioned Tech and Washington State. Josh does have the power of putting on the pick'em sheet because he runs that, and he didn't want to have to pick Washington State over Tech, so he didn't do that. Now, a lot of pressure on this first game. Crosstown rival. Coach is in the building and in the green room. A lot of pressure.
It adds a lot. I mean, I've got to go with my gut on this pick, but I'm afraid to offend our guest. But
well, that's why you're smart and don't. All right, so Brack, we'll let you go first before. Actually, we probably should protect Josh. So I've got Cooper. I've got Cooper winning. Played Hazel last week. Just came up a little short. I've got Cooper winning. There's going to be a lot of people going the other way possibly, but I think Cooper wins. Michael, Coach Bacon watching. Appreciate Bacon watching. He's giving me a hard time for wearing purple, but I've got the Cougs winning. Brack, what do you got?
If Josh will stay right where he is between me and Coach, I'm going to go with the oldest marching band in Texas, Appleton High School.
But see, you have a good reason, and that way, when Rome gets finished with Josh, he won't come after you. All right, so Josh.
No, I do appreciate the marching band reference, and from my office, I get to hear Cooper's marching band play every morning. So that's an added bonus. But I am picking Abilene High. I do think that this game, obviously, there's a lot of hype to it, and there's a lot going on. And rivalry games are always tough, but I am going to go with Abilene High.
I have a lot of Coug fans, and I'm going to offend a lot of people. I still love you, but I got to go with A High.
Well, you're in luck, Coach Roan. Josh leaves after this segment. So. All right, so I'm going the lone Coug. So when y'all are wrong, I'll have one up on you. This next high school game, Albany and Holly. Albany having to adjust without Austin with Hill, who's gone on to Tech, and still a little bit young for Albany, but I think they'll be fine. Coach Faith does a good job. But Mitch Abels, both his boys, getting that privilege of coaching your two kids. One's a senior, one's a sophomore. I've got Holly winning this game. Nothing against Albany, but I've got Holly winning this one.
Yeah, I've also got Holly winning this one.
Same for me.
I've been in Abilene a long time, and to be able to say that Holly's going to beat Albany, having not always been the case, Holly.
Yeah, and Coach Abel's done a great job. And again, getting to coach his boys. This next one, SMU, BYU. BYU in the Big 12, SMU getting into the ACC. I think SMU is one of those, hey, we belong in a Power 5. Hey, we belong. We're going to be here for a while. We've got all those things. And so I've actually got SMU winning this one.
I do too, mainly because I picked SMU to do well in the season, so I got to start here. But I do think this is one of those games I'm going to turn it on the TV.
Yeah, I'm not really sure, but I'm going to go with SMU.
So BYU.
Oh, yeah, sure. Sure, yeah. You'll turn on the the SMU local school, but you won't pick the right team for the crosstown rival. All right, let's skip Texas and Michigan. We'll go ahead. Texas and Michigan. I think this is, again, another opportunity for Michigan to – they've got to prove themselves.
Right.
They still got to prove, hey, Harbaugh's gone, McCarthy's gone, a lot of graduations, a lot of NFL people have gone on to the NFL. Texas in the same boat. This is their first challenge. Colorado State was not one. Texas going up there. College game day is going to be there. A few Abilene folks will be there, so look for them. Trey Thornton's going, and I think KG and all them are going. So check them out. They may be on College game day. I'm going to go with Texas. I'm not going with Michigan.
I'm going to Texas also just because of the change in Michigan. I'm just going to leave it there.
Yeah, it's a Longhorns for me.
Same.
All right, Longhorns there. The next, all of us have UT. This next game, Oklahoma State, I've got them winning it. I think they've got a chance to be who's going to replace Texas I say replace Texas. Texas won it last year, hadn't won it a whole lot in the Big 12. But who's going to take that crown of being at the top of the Big 12? Oklahoma State at home. I've got the Pokes.
Same for me.
Same.
19th grade does it.
Oklahoma
State.
Oh, there you go. 19th grade does it. Baylor, Utah. Both of them Baylor really trying to turn the corner from last year's tough season. They did not let Tarleton do what ACU almost did to Tech. They put a stomp to that. I've got Utah winning the Big 12. I'm taking the Utah Utes at home. Sorry, my Baptist friends.
Well, I'm picking Utah also, but I would say that I'd take Baylor against the spread with that 15 points.
I'm kind of surprised that you didn't homer that, but I've got Utah.
So I'm going to go Baylor.
All right, there you go. Baylor for Brack. Now let's get to the NFL game tonight. Jalen Hurts talked about in some of the interviews, talking about Friday night football. Well, we know Friday night football is king here in Texas. Jalen Hurts grew up in Texas. I've got the Packers. I'm not going to pick the Eagles ever unless they're playing nobody. I'm not ever picking the Eagles. I'm picking the Packers. Jordan Love, live up to the money.
I'm Packers also.
Yeah, I hate both of these teams, but I definitely would never pick the Eagles, so it's the Packers.
I share exactly the same sentiment, but I got to say Eagles.
There you go, Eagles. All right, Colts and Texans. Anthony Richardson coming back off the injury. Can he have a healthy season? Can he bounce back? C.J. Stroud, sophomore season in the NFL, added more weapons to Stephon Diggs. Can they get a connection? Joe Mixon. I'm a Texans guy, even though I picked the Colts to win that division. I'm going the Texans.
I've got the Texans also and I think the Texans are winning the division.
Same.
Texans.
All right, everybody got the Texans.
Sorry.
Jets, 49ers. 49ers going to be a big disappointment this year, according to Hodge. Y'all trashed it. I took it. I've got the Jets. I think Aaron Rodgers, I don't know. Some of you didn't like him. You're a big man bun fan.
Can't stand that guy.
I want him to succeed. I know that sounds weird.
Why?
Because I think the Jets organization needs it. If nothing else from
about the Jets.
If nothing else from my boy Greeny, I've got the Jets beating the 49ers. I mean, how are they going to do any good if I'm already trashing them before? So I got the Jets winning.
You're wrong. The 49ers will take that game.
Yes, 49ers. It's a home game on Monday night. Long trip for the Jets.
Will there be any flashbacks like from Kramer when he got spit on and went back in time? Do you think Aaron Rodgers is going to be nervous walking everywhere he goes on Monday night?
Let's just hope he goes for 5 plays instead of 4 this year.
Possibility of the second spitter. I've got the 49ers.
All right, 49ers. I'm the only Jets fan. All right, KLG tomorrow or Sunday, you can listen to the Cowboys and the Browns right here on KLGD. Texas, Dakota Rain Prescott heading up to Cleveland. I think it's a tough game. Deshaun Watson's got to figure out, hey, am I going to be the guy? Am I going to be the person? Even I don't have to be the Clemson domination. Just be what I was when I was at Houston when I was healthy. But this is not just a homer pick. I hope Brandon Cooks. I've not looked at the injury update. I'm hoping that he's going to play. You've got CeeDee Lamb. Hopefully they've connected since the signing of the contract. I've got the Cowboys winning. Don't forget you can hear it right here on KLGD.
Oh, I thought you were going to go. I've also got the Cowboys. They continue to disappoint me. I'm sure it'll happen this season, but I'm still picking them because I'm going with my heart.
This game is picked to be close. It's Cleveland -2.5. My homerness, though, is going to have to go Cowboys just because it's the first game of the year. I can't already be negative, so Cowboys.
Can't win them all if you don't win the first one. Cowboys.
All right, there you go. The Dallas Cowboys right here on 106.9, the Country Giant, home of the Dallas Cowboy Radio Network Sunday. Brack, thanks for coming in. Don't forget Ode to Tom. Download it, buy it, listen to it, get your friend's phone, buy it, sell it. Because just like the Hodge Pack, we like download, subscribes, rate, and reviews.
Perfect.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks, Brack,
Thank
for
you
coming
for
in.
having me.
All right, when we come back, Misty and I will interview Coach Roan, and we'll get Josh protected on his way out as we get ready for the crosstown showdown between Abilene High and Cooper at the renovated Shotwell. We'll be back right after this.
Let's get a quick pick.
Everyone.
You can put my car in the pick. Whatever you want to do. She'll take a picture. You want to get over here?
Hey, Coach, sorry.
He walks off.
I've never been to the city, so I hope I go. Yeah.
Oh, no.
You should have talked crap to Josh in the background. Is it like a sounder?
No. It sounds like you can always tell when some guy's married.
Yeah, so if you look record it.
It was nice to meet you. Wish you all the success on your song.
Thank you.
All right, Coach, you can take that seat. That one there. We'll leave, put Misty there. We'll talk some rival games. We are live, so people can hear. Make sure I'll be pissed if it's hidden with
Yeah, he's great.
Is this game ever been played, I guess?
No, we played week 2 last year. We played week 2.
I mean, this, obviously it's never kicked off the season, but.
No, but I think week 2 is the earliest that I know of.
Yeah.
But we've been doing it for, I know for sure the last 2 years. This will be the 3rd at least. I want to say it was week 3 before that. But when we had some realignment scares or stuff a few years ago, we didn't know if we would, some of us would be in an 8 or 9 team district. We went ahead and scheduled it for week 2 so we knew we could get it in.
And the Creo kid's Michael Creo's son, right?
Mm-hmm. Michael, that was he's from Sweetwater. And,
Yeah.
my Hard Simmons.
Yeah. My 2 years coaching at Merkel,
What years were you out there?
I coached at Merkel. So I was at Dimmitt from 01 to 02 as an assistant basketball coach there. And then I went to Merkel from 02, 03, and 03, 04. So it was the year we made the playoffs for the first time since 1963. And
Yeah.
Coach Flowers was the head football coach.
Yeah.
And then when David was going to Bushland, Keith Mullins took over.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but I got the Roby head basketball job this
Okay.
summer. And so I moved to Roby. Missed parts of, I mean, there's a lot of it. I ran into.
How long have you been out? And how'd you
13
get
years.
into radio? How'd you
Of
get into this deal?
course, going back, I wish I'd have done this going out of college, you
Yeah.
know, been the next Grant Boone or something. But I was in the Home Builders Association office one day talking to, because I deal with our home builders at the co-op, and I'm on the board. Anyway, I was there and said, man, I've always wanted to have my own radio show. And one of the girls in there is like, well, I'm actually meeting with Jim with KLGD, and they met. She told him, connected with Jim, and 5 years ago we kicked off the Hodge Pack.
Yeah.
And so it's been pretty cool. We've had some fun guests. We've had Dabo Sweeney's been on. We've had Mike Greenberg, Golick,
Yeah.
Laura Rutledge, Dan Orlowski,
Cool.
Kirk Herbstreit's been
Yeah.
on. He actually will text you back Trey Wingo.
That's what I like. Yeah, the college coaches and things like that are those big, the big time guys. I always appreciate the ones that will actually pick up the phone or answer, because some of them it's like this coach wants, but then it's like a GA or somebody that's like, hey, Coach so and so's coming this week. When's a good time? I'm like, why don't they just ask? Okay, because it's like going through the middleman and something gets dropped, and I'm like,
Absolutely.
are you from around here?
So I grew up in Robert Lee,
Big
little
city.
bitty town,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then I actually ended up graduating from Great Creek. I only went there my junior, senior, but I claim Robert Lee. I went there for
Peters?
yeah.
When did you graduate from there?
03.
Okay. There's a big town. What's his name? Robert Edging was a big shot put discus thrower. Big. I can't remember the last name.
Welcome back to the Hodge Pack, sports, life, and everything in between. It is time. You hear that? It's time for our Big Country Electric My Town segment, brought to you by Big Country Electric Cooperative, taking care of their members each and every day out in Roby, Snyder, and Stanford. We always highlight a local player, coach, or program, and today we're highlighting. It's one of these that known him, got to be around him a little bit, but it's always not worked out for us to have Coach Roan on. But we are fortunate to have Coach on today, the head football coach at Abilene Cooper, Coach Aaron Roan, and we apologize. We got Josh out of here as soon as we could. We appreciate you being here this morning.
Yeah, no, I appreciate y'all having me. Glad we were able to connect, and appreciate what y'all do for the Big Country sports, and thanks for having me. I'm excited to see how this works out.
Oh yeah, it's good stuff, and a big night. Of course, West Texas Fair is going to be happening right across, so I'm sure there's plenty of parking for tonight. Hey, where am I going? Cody Canada. No, I'm going to that. So don't forget Cody Canada tonight. After the football game, go watch Cody Canada tonight. Again, the folks with Potosi Live and Screaming Goat bringing the entertainment to the fair. But Coach, the season, y'all got to play last week. We were the only pocket in the world, I guess, where lightning shot everything down, and we drove to Brownwood and did nothing. But Coach, the season's going. It's year 6 for you. How do you reload mentally? We were talking about my coaching days. How do you reload each year and basically kind of run it back?
I think it's every year's a new year, so I think that's one thing that as you get through and go through, the off season that this program's been working on, and since last January, 24 started in January, didn't start last week when we played Hazel, so I think that's fun. As a coach is trying to see what each year looks like, how it's a little bit different than the year before. And so I think it's kind of ever changing, and it's never the same, and I think that's one thing that, I think as coaches, we can reload because, it doesn't look exactly the same. Some of the schematics that we do, but the personnel is always fun and unique. And I think it's always exciting to see, which young kids are going to step into the roles that were vacated by graduation. And so, that's what's fun about it.
Well, and being there for year 6, you're building that program. And so a lot of these kids have gotten used to you. Unfortunately, there are places out there where stability doesn't take place. Stability isn't there. But you guys have been there for 6 years. You were on staff, right, with Mavis?
Mm-hmm.
And so you've been there. So how big is that, having that stability? Hey, you know what? This is how Coach Roan and the staff does things. How important is that?
I think it's important. I've been around these kids since they've been really from 6th and 7th grade. This is my 7th year as the head coach, my 19th year on campus, and so I came in 2006, and some of the things that that Coach Bradlin brought in 06, and then Coach Mavis built upon. We still have those things in place. We've changed a few things, but I think the continuity and like I said, watching these kids and being around our 6th grade pre-athletic, 7th grade, 8th graders, I think is one that, I feel like I've seen these guys. They've been coming through our elementary school camp since they were in, 1st or 2nd grade. And it's, it's always fun to see some of those little snotty-nosed kids that come up and are really, really grown and mature.
And that's what I was going to ask is, you hear a lot about, we were talking about Coach Abels, and obviously Coach Faith is like the Hugh Sanford of Class A football. Has been here forever. Legend. And, they get that opportunity because, hey, junior high athletics just right down the hall, not just across town. So you do get that opportunity to still connect with your middle school feeds.
Yes, absolutely. We've got two, our feeder programs, Clack and Madison, come to us. I'm able to go over to their 7th grade athletics before school during first period when things allow. And then the 8th grade athletics is at the meet of the day. And it's kind of funny you talk about, Coach Faith. I grew up in Baird, Texas. Coach Faith was one that when we were at Baird, we played against him when I was in high school at Aspermont. We scrimmaged Baird. My dad was a coach. I have a lot of respect for Coach Faith and have known him, since I was a little runt as a ball boy over there in pouring rain at Albany, Texas, in the Lions Den, getting yelled at because I didn't get a drive football in by my dad when I was a 6th grader, But I think that's one thing that I've learned. I think it's important to our elementary kids, to our feeder programs, to be around them. It's a lot more difficult at the size that we are. But I think 7 years ago when I could, and we do a lot of work with our elementary schools in the off season, so that we can be inviting, we can be seeing that our players are around and they understand what it's like and want them to have that excitement of going to Cooper, of being a Coug, whether they're going to be at Clack or Madison or whatever it may be. And I think that's when, we're going to have our elementary tunnel run next week, man. So we've got over 150 that signed up to come be on the field, run through the Cougar Head, be with our guys in pregame warm-up. Because I think it's important growing up in small towns. I mean, like the athletics is the world, and we want our kids to be good examples for those that are coming up, and we want our young kids to want to be involved in our programs. And so I've taken a lot of those, I'm not saying a lot, but some of that small school mentality, because that's how I grew up, and just try to work to see how we can apply it to what we do at Cooper.
Well, and it as having a Ethan, and then obviously even now Collins, the high school athlete, I did a deal and listened about when Tim Tebow did his 316, and he had a big deal, and they found out 94 million people looked up John 316. He has a huge platform, but I think the high school kids don't really realize how big of a platform they have for kids like Ethan when he was growing up, for kids like Collins now. They have a huge impact to influence a lot of people.
Oh, yeah. I was just at the junior high game for Wiley watching a friend of mine. Her daughter made 7th grade cheer. And I was just telling her, hey, remember, you've got that uniform on. She was like, all these little girls are, screaming at us. And I said, remember, you're a role model. Like, these little girls are looking up to you, and what you do matters. And so make good decisions. And so, no, absolutely. I mean, definitely Ethan had kids, that I would say paved the way for him, that he looked up to, and, he wanted to aspire to be like them. And so, yeah, there's nothing better than sports. I mean, you can just learn so much as kids, coaches, parents. I mean, all the things. Like, I love it. I love it.
They got a huge platform, and Absolutely. They are local celebrities. And at the high school football level, it's even grown to a bigger deal, because now you can, yes, Channel 7 covers Abilene High and Cooper, but you can watch NFHS or whatever. You can watch these kids on TV, and it's become such more of a broader, bigger coverage.
Mm-hmm.
And so the platform of, and I look back, and we were talking about Jaden, make sure I know Michael Creo, Jaden, correct? Jaden Creo.
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching Michael Creo play, and now his son's getting to do it. These kids have a platform and opportunity to make an impact in their school, in the people they're around. They're local celebrities.
Oh, absolutely. I think, they have an impact, kind of, I don't know if this is right or not, but they sometimes say as like football and volleyball goes, so goes the school for the year. I mean, it just kind of sets the tone at the beginning of the year. And you're right. I grew up as a kid watching, college athletes or, professional athletes on the TV. And then you went to the high school games and you're like, that's the big deal in the town. Well, now, still the elementary kids, man, they're on TV. They're the big, and they're high school football players that are streamed or whatever else. That's where we are now. And so I think it's just amplified the impact that they can have. And that's what, I think is awesome. There's a lot of responsibility that comes with being a student athlete.
For sure.
But that's one of the things that, we love it. We love interacting with the kids, our high school kids, like I said, getting on elementary campuses, getting on middle school campuses. It's fun to watch both. Like our kids think sometimes they're real big, I'm a young man, I'm grown. And then you get a little one that comes over there, and then they're like, Coach, that was awesome.
Right.
And
you look, I noticed yesterday, Merkel has no school on Friday, so they do their pep rallies on Thursday. And so people were posting pictures of their kid with a cheerleader or their kid with a player. And it's such a big deal. So kids, though, that are listening, download, subscribe, rate, review, know that you have a huge platform to take care of, to change lives and make impact. So let's talk about tonight. Week 2 comes with You mentioned this is not abnormal for the crosstown rival to happen early in the season. But the other thing with social media, a lot of things can happen. So how do you control the atmosphere? Hey, it's a football game. Yes, it's Abilene High. Yes, it's great if we beat them, but let's take care of business for the goal of winning district, get to a playoff, all those things.
Right. No, I think what our approach each week, regardless of who we're playing, it's about progressing and getting better each week. This happens to be a really unique opportunity to go do that. You know, I think I think this is my 19th year as a part of this game. I'll never forget the first time that I came into to this football game. Now we were in district with them. It was playoff implications on the line in 2006. And like I said, I'm from Aspen. I mean, we had about 1,000 in the whole town, and I look up and there's not a pack. I mean, it's packed, and there's like 15,000 people. I remember Coach Sprather, some of them were like, "What?" I was like, "This is 15 times like what I went in the town. Like, this is amazing." But just the atmosphere, the energy, and I think in the scope of where we are now, in this being a non-district game, which it has been for several years, I think that provides an awesome kind of like early playoff atmosphere. What you want to aspire, that's goals that we have to get into the playoffs. Where we're going to play in big games like that. That's what we want to do. So we've got to be able to kind of handle those at that time. We're able to kind of have a trial run, with this game right here. I think it brings out the best in both campuses. Abilene High, Coach Fulham, and do a fantastic job. Their kids are well coached. They play extremely hard. We know that they're going to get, we're going to get their best, and we're going to bring our best. And so I think in this atmosphere, it brings out the best in both of us. And we always know, man, if there's going to be some things, we can come out and evaluate this. That sometimes we expose each other's weaknesses and strengths and those types of things. So we can come out and we can evaluate and go, okay, we need to do this to get better, regardless of if we won or if we lost. I mean, regardless of the outcome, the goal is to use the next 3 weeks, this being the second one of 3 more, to get better into district play.
So as a coach, I mean, obviously big game tonight, big rivalry, crosstown, all the things. So do you feel that pressure every week, or is it, do you have kind of that same mentality, or is it just like, oh, this big game, my nerves, we need to go after it? Or is that kind of your every week feeling?
No, I don't think it's pressure. I think it's expectation. But that's every week. We expect to go win every week. We expected to go win last week. We needed to complement each other a little bit better and do a few things a little bit better to be able to do that. We fought and had a chance to go win it. We got to go finish it. But I think that's every week. I don't think, I've had that through different news things or outlets. It's like, y'all been in the playoffs 17 years. Is there pressure to continue that streak? So I don't think it's pressure. Our kids don't feel pressure. I don't feel pressure. Our staff. That's the expectation. Like that's
if you're not trying to wait.
Yeah,
if you're not playing to win, why are you doing it?
So I don't think that's a pressure. I think that's the expectation. And it's fun. That's what makes it fun. I'm not saying we're not upset if we don't get the win. That's the goal. But also at this point, it's also learning the lessons. We don't ever want to miss on a lesson that can help us in the future. And so that's what's exciting about this week is the arena, the atmosphere. Charlotte Stadium's unbelievable place to play in.
And the renovation to the press box and all that, a game changer. We had Coach Gar here a few weeks ago on the show. Feel free to download, subscribe, rate, review if you want to hear the interview with Coach Gar. But he said the elevator's working, and so for a guy that's going to be calling the game on October 4th when Wiley and Cooper play, I'm glad the elevator is there. But we got a little bit of time. I'm just curious. One of the things that has changed is Wichita Falls.
Mm-hmm.
They've gone from 3 schools to 2. And I know you've got a game tonight. You don't look too far ahead, and of course, getting better for district. What's your thoughts? I'm curious on how that's going to go, because I would think there's a lot of, all right, we've got all these, you got the Hershey kids, and you got all these. I'm not saying they had to do Remember the Titans, but you got a lot of people coming in of where do we put people? I'm just curious what that's going to be.
No, I think that I agree with you. What I think the unknown with that newness out there is what, it's one thing that's been on our mind since the realignment occurred. 3 schools going to 2, there's a ton of athletes out in the Wichita Falls area.
And Hershey kids can go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We've been in the district with Ryder, what they're going to get, and some of those returning, and, Coach Bendel's staff being over at Memorial and Coach Johnson over at Hershey, and that intermix, it's kind of going to be, how do they gel together? How soon do they gel together? Because they're going to be extremely athletic. There's no doubt about that. I think both schools are going to be that. And then, so that's kind of the unknown that we've been kind of, I think as my staff and myself anyways, is kind of looking at how is that going to play out through the non-district as they're growing and developing together, just because of the newness of emergence in schools.
Well, last question, then we'll go to break, and then don't forget when we come back, when we're going to see you out to the weekend for Ode to Tom with Brack Jones. I'm taking your question. I'm a coach. I was a coach. I've got routines. What is the home day routine for Coach Roan from now till kickoff?
Well, I'll get back over to my office and I'll watch all of our sub-varsity games that performed last night, that played last night, and kind of grade those kids out. And then kind of go through my final checklist going up to the athletic period and watch some film and kind of get in my zone, my element, have a little bit of quiet time. And then we have our athletic period. We go through our routine of meetings and walkthroughs, and then we go just go to lunch. And kind of Friday's kind of a day where you can kind of, I hate to say relax a little bit, but you've got all the work. It's like, we've got to make sure that, we've done all the prep time up to that. And then we have a Saturday, so I'll meet with coordinators in the afternoon, and then we get our kids over. We'll walk over to the cafeteria. We're going to eat a pregame hamburger, and then we're going to come back over. We're going to get dressed. We're going to get on a bus. First group's going to go out at 5:45, and then we're going to get ready to kick off at 7 o'clock.
And a rarity with playing Azle at home, being Abilene High the next week, Central 3 straight home games, a little different than that normal.
Oh yeah, our schedule worked out kind of uniquely where we got all these home games kind of right together. In fact, I talked to Lubbock Coronado. I was like, I've got to play on the road. We've got to play all in Lubbock.
We got to make sure our buses will get somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Because make sure
the first road trip that we have is going to Memorial for a district game. We need to get that routine in, and no, it worked out, but it's been unique.
Well, again, we appreciate you coming up. Big game tonight for the fans, but for coaches, Coach Fuller and Coach Roan, it's another game. Going to do the same. Football is going to be the same, but go pack it out. And again, don't forget, enjoy the game and head over to hear Cody Cannon tonight at the fair and go. Are you a fair rider guy? I mean, it's been a while.
It's been a while. Been a while. I'd be more of the listen to the music. I'm a little bit more of a concert. I don't get to do it much, but I'm more of a sit down, listen to some live music. I could do that part. I don't know about getting on one of them Ferris wheels.
Well, I don't know if I could. If I got some Frito pie pregame meal, it may be Frito pie everywhere else in the world. So, all right. Well, guys, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and we'll send you out with some Brack Jones right after this. All right, so what I'm going to do.
Great job.
Real quick.
Nailed it. Okay. You did great. Well, then he's like, you know the mic. Well, then I forgot the mic's right in my face, so I hit the mic. I'm like, just call me Grace.
So what? Real quick, because I just got to.
I must be heard for interviews if you're digging down in the bottom of the barrel.
All right. Hang on. I need to figure out how to execute this.
So how long have y'all been doing this show together? 5 years?
So Hodge started it first by himself. He was a solo act, and then Josh kind of co-hosted a few times, I think a few months in, and then I don't know, Ryan and I have known each other for many years, and he one day was like, hey, what's up? And I'm like, what's up? Like that's not how we talk. So I'm like, basically, I think I was like, what do you want? Like giving him a hard time. And he called me and said, hey, I got this idea. And I was like, really? And then he was like, what do you think? He's like, I'm looking for a personality. I'd love to have a female who knows sports, and I love sports. And I was like, okay. And so I've been doing it, over 4 years. So, but yeah, it's been fun, but somehow Jeremy Etching, yes.
Yeah.
So I've been at school with Sean. His younger brother was in my grade, but yes.
He was more man. He kind of watched shots what you did.
Yeah, you're right. Jeremy. So Jeremy, I think, was in my brother's was named Derek, or is named Derek. And I think he was in Derek's. I mean, he's a few. But
So you've been with Abilene for at least that.
well, I've been in Abilene 13 years. So yeah, I'm a one-month editing. So I'm right across the street from ACU. So I've been in ACU for almost 18 years. So okay, come on, lunch.